Welcome to the Intercut podcast, the weekly show going over the TV, movies, and entertainment that people can't cut away from. I am your co-host, Zachary Shevich, and joining me, an ensemble of one, it's Arturo Zurita.
Oh, man. Dealing with all of the actors, best actresses, again, it's just further proof that there wasn't enough movies in 2020. You and I spent a podcast worth just discussing what was going to make it on this little list, just to discuss what the top actors and actresses are for this year. So, again, further proof 2020 wasn't that bad, especially because most of these movies are available at home. So,
yeah. It definitely means there's a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We, as you said, we spent a lot of time just trying to figure out what we even wanted to talk about on this podcast. So in a little bit, we will get to those leading performances, supporting performances, and the Oscar odds. But first, make sure you subscribe to the Intercut podcast. The video podcast is available on youtube.com/intercutpod, and the audio podcast is available on most podcatchers. Also, follow Intercut on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We are at Intercut Pod. That's at Intercut Pod. That's short for podcast. And be sure to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. A 5-star review on Apple Podcast makes me happier than a movie with a 90-minute runtime. Ooh. Isn't it great when those like 90-minute runtimes come up? You know, like I'm going to be in and out in an hour and a half. Perfect.
It's beautiful.
Art. The Oscars are less than 2 months away, and the Oscar nominations are even closer than that. Last week, we took a look at the Oscars shortlists for Best Documentary and Best International Films in order to talk about our favorite documentaries and foreign films from 2020. This week, we're turning our attention to the performances, the actors, lead, supporting, male, female, whatever. We are looking at the actors who really moved us, who really did a lot for their movies in 2020. There are a lot of great performances out there. So what we're going to try and do is together come up with what the top 5 in each category should be, and then compare our top 5s to the ones that are most likely going to be nominated for Oscars. So in order to do that, there's a lot of performances to go through. Should we start out with the ladies and go with Best Actress first?
For sure. You're doing supporting, we doing lead?
Let's go with lead. Let's start it off with a big one.
Damn, right off the bat. All right, let's go.
Okay, so here are some of the performances that we have on our lists. Sophia Loren from The Life Ahead. I don't know if you ever caught up with this one, but I thought she was really good in this one. You know, a nice return from an iconic actress, but ultimately not one that I'm thinking is going to be in either of our top 5s.
I like her documentary, the documentary short that she had on Netflix that actually made the short list for Best Live Doc Short.
Yeah.
So at least that one's getting the recognition, but I don't know if she's going to score the spot for one of the 5.
Yeah, probably not. Another person who's probably not even in the running, but someone that we thought gave it a really interesting performance is Andrea Riseborough in Possessor.
Oh,
you know that's a very strange movie from Brandon Cronenberg, Brandon Cronenberg, and you know she's got to do some weird stuff in that movie, but I think she's an actress who really sells it. You know, I think it's almost hard to notice her performance under all the layers of aesthetic in that movie, but it's really solid.
Yeah, no, that one's one that I have in my top 15. Mm-hmm. I really like her performance in that movie, and honestly, like she's always kills it in the Sundance movies that she's in. Mm-hmm. She tends to also do like 2 a year. You know, she was Mandy in Mandy as well. But no, yeah, this one's in my top 15. I hope more people get the chance to check it out. It's on Hulu, so hopefully people are. But yeah, I don't think this is one that's going to make the cut for the Oscars at all.
Another one from Sundance that we liked a lot is Evan Rachel Wood in Kajillionaire. She gives a really interesting performance here. Actually, this is one that is pretty high up there in terms of my personal, although it does personal top rankings for best performances of the year. It's not in my top 5, but I really like the choices she's making here. It's the kind of like big, broad choice of character that I don't know if we see enough from our actresses.
Yeah, no, I liked it, and I think there's a lot of subtlety to it. I think a lot of people focus on the goofiness of the movie and, you know, how quirky it comes off. But one of the best parts about it is that I haven't had the chance to catch it again since we saw it at Sundance. I've listened to some interviews, but just the whole, like, the way it tackles family, and I think the particular role that she plays in being the daughter and how she was raised, I think she plays all those nuances very well. And I think to a lot of people, maybe the tone of the movie overshadows a lot of what's going on there. But I think there's a lot of meat in there that, while I think we've discussed it, is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Is it a crime thriller heist type of movie? And I think that it's that entire amalgamation and how she's able to perform within all of those genres as the movie swaps around. That makes it a standout. Another one that's in my top 15 for sure.
Totally. There are a few performances that I know you were a fan of that you wanted to include here as well, including Rosamund Pike in I Care a Lot.
Look, she made you hate her a lot. That I know you haven't caught this one yet, and I've been saying, Zach, you need to go get it, because if there's one movie that has conflicted people so much recently, it has been this one.
I know.
If there's one thing Rosamund Pike knows how to do well, is play that character that people are just gonna like look at the screen and obviously be scared for their lives. Gone Girl. It's become iconic at this point.
Yeah, and that's the performance that a lot of people seem to be comparing this one to, is hers in Gone Girl, which is a great performance.
Yeah, you can't say it's not fair enough considering the characters and considering it's played by the same actress. But there's been a lot of comparisons also to Wolf of Wall Street, and I think one of the differences is if you know the premise of the movie. In Wolf of Wall Street, you don't see the people he's screwing over. They're on the other side of the phone. It's really us. Here, it's elderly people, so like people just cannot look past that part. I am also a person who thinks that her performance is way better than the script. I wish the script was as strong as what all of the actors in the movie bring to it. But yeah, nonetheless, as much as I hate so much in the movie, did you see Radioactive?
I didn't see Radioactive.
Did you see A Private War?
I didn't see Private
Nobody sees when she's playing like the good person. They all want to see her play this bad character, and I think that she's great at it. So I think she's going to continue it. Think of it like Robert De Niro, right? He's played a mob guy in so many movies, but they're different, and some are better than others. That's what we're going to be seeing with her. This may have been the one that a lot of people may not have jived with the most, considering how bad her character is. But I think we're going to have a lot of other ones in the future. We may even get a better Amy Dunn in the future. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing about some of these performances, is like you have to sometimes pick them apart from the movie that they're in.
Oh, it's difficult though.
it can be difficult. It really influences how you
that's
feel
how good
about
she
the
is.
stuff. Yeah, but that's the thing, is sometimes a great performer can transcend a bad movie. I would throw Andra Day from The United States versus Billie Holiday into that category as well, because I thought she was pretty remarkable as Billie Holiday in this movie. There's some likenesses there, but there's just a really emotive and full performance that does not justify the messy Lee Daniels movie that surrounds it. I mean, that kind of is Lee Daniels' signature at this point, is giving you powerhouse performances and really messy productions. But yeah, I did not really enjoy the new Hulu movie. But I thought her performance was easily the best part of it. So she's on my long list, but not one that I'm putting in my top 5 either. Another one that I know you had on your long list was Sarah Bulger from A Good Woman Is Hard to Find.
Oh my goodness. I know Carey Mulligan is going to be another one that we mentioned earlier, but there has been those 3 movies between I Care a Lot, Promising Young Woman. If you hated those 2, some people would recommend The Assistant, and I know we'll talk about her in a bit. But y'all are missing out on A Good Woman Is Hard to Find. This movie seems hard to find, but it is on Shudder. This is one that came out, I want to say it played at some of the festivals, like including South by, if I'm not mistaken. And this is that movie, man. Like this is one that I think audiences would have loved a lot more, as conflicted as we are with the 2 that I just mentioned. This one's on Shudder. Give it a watch, because not only does she kill it in her role, it's not getting the recognition that it deserves. I think that the way that the script is written, the way that it's shot beautifully as well. The movie overall, not just her performance, is one that I feel should be on more people's radar. But yeah, this is one that I think is even better than Rosamund Pike, is even better than Carey Mulligan. But they're not going to talk about it this award season. That's me.
Interesting.
Have him above. She makes just the line. I have a line of like what I think the best ones are, and I think I have like 7. She is right there. There's just no more room, but she is right there above Carey Mulligan and Rosamund Pike.
Interesting. Jessie Buckley from I'm Thinking of Ending
Things. She's on the other side of the line.
You got her in your top 5?
Oh, easily.
Okay, so we'll keep her around in contention then. Elizabeth Moss from Invisible Man and Shirley, you know, does a woman losing her mind probably better than anybody else working in the industry right now. I don't know if either of these two performances are my favorite of her doing that type of thing. You know, I think Per Smell and Queen of Earth maybe are the performances that I think of. And I like these a lot. I think these are maybe in my top 10, but are not. They're not in my top 5, at least. So I don't want to keep them around for contention.
I agree with you on Invisible Man, but it's a very great performance. I disagree with you when it comes to Shirley and the other two. I think Shirley is better than Queen of the Earth and Her Smell. Now, granted, I need to rewatch Her Smell for sure. But I think she did what she needed to do in Shirley. Yeah, like you said, that market... She has owned it. She has found a way to not, because it's not the same role over and over and over again. These are completely distinct characters from each other that go on this very, you know, I don't want to call it a trippy journey, but how psychological she gets, especially in Shirley, because she has Stolberg to go off of. And the other two supporting actors are no joke either, but the back and forth that she was doing with Stolberg and just the way that you mix into directing, the Special Jury Award-winning directing, yeah, she's above the line for me for Shirley as well, man.
All right, I'm not going to argue with you at least yet because it is a great performance. I like her a lot in that movie.
Okay.
One that I know that you have on your honorables is Barbara Sukova from Two of Us, the French film.
Yeah. Yeah, she is in there. This is one that I know got shortlisted for the international features for France. I believe
about it a little in that video.
I believe it's going to make it all the way through. I really like her performance because it's kind of split between the beginning where they're actually in a relationship that's not fully a relationship, and she's the one who's trying to tell her partner, what are you embarrassed of us? Are we becoming? You know, to bring up another movie like Breaking Fast. That also played at the same Fast for New Fest. Are we becoming the exact same thing that we make fun of from other people? That we're not being ourselves because we're just trying to pretend? Are you embarrassed? And then obviously the big turn in the movie is that the partner ends up having, I want to say dementia. And then it's just her. And she leads the entire movie and is trying her hardest to be with the person who she just got into a big argument with. And I think she carries it very well. Just like with Supernova, I do worry that the interviews and the press that they're doing with this, I was telling Zach, it reminds me of Charlotte Rampling, right? When she did the thing for 45 years. And it was like, great performance. Then she put in her 2 cents about something that wasn't her business. And the same thing has kind of happened here with the rollout for this movie, where actors feel they got what they need. But yeah, nonetheless, I don't think she's going to top it, but she is an honorable mention for me because I thought she played the role very well, especially that of a lover who feels more and more distant from someone that they didn't even have fully close to begin with.
Yeah. All right, so a few more performances here that we liked, but I don't think are really going to make our top 5. Haley Bennett from Swallow, who I think holds the screen really, really well. You know, kind of gives you this very inward, textured performance. It's a great performance. It's maybe a little bit smaller of a performance than the ones that I'm going to have in my top 5.
She's in my top 5. She's in my top 3.
Oh.
But yes, but again, I really love that movie. I think everything that she does in there, I think kills it. But I know she's not going to get a nomination. This is the one that I'm willing to sacrifice because I've said my due. But yes, top 3 for me. I really love what she did in this movie. I think she played it off well, and I'm justice for her, man. We got to stop calling her Katniss Everdeen, man. She is her own person.
She is her own person.
She is her own. And I also think she did a great job even in Hillbilly Elegy, which we should not be speaking of. But I think out of all the performances in that movie, she's the one who was able to straddle that line of just being so overtly cliche and not falling into the tropes that movie, I feel, did for a lot of its other actresses who sadly may be the ones that are going to get the nominations this year. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Casey Roll from White Lie, a really excellent performance in this underseen Canadian indie film. Just the way that she depicts this woman caught in this lie as her life starts to unravel slowly. I think you can feel her panic through the screen in this performance, right?
Mm-hmm. She did a fantastic job, not only in the journey that the character goes on, but she is like, she plays off probably the most people because the whole movie is following her. At no point do I think it even breaks away from her. So you were just seeing how she's keeping up with this lie from character to character to character to character. At no point does it falter at all. I thought she did a fantastic job. I am looking forward to what she does next.
Absolutely. Zoe Deutch from Buffalo.
Yeah.
She's awesome. We've talked about how we really love her in this role. One of the best for her. She's just so charming and sparky and electric in this movie. I think she's super watchable. It's a great case for why she should be a movie star. It's just kind of like a fun role, though. I don't know if there's a lot of like necessarily depth in this part, but I like her a lot in it.
I think you and I are arguing for her even more because I'd bring up the always great Haley Lou Richardson, who is actually on the Derby list for Unpregnant of all movies.
Yeah.
But I would argue, as I think you would as well, that we would put Zoe Deutch in there for Buffalo, which is streaming on Hulu as well. I think this is one that not a lot of people have caught. I'm not saying it is the greatest movie. I'm not saying it's the greatest performance, but I've caught it twice, and I've enjoyed it both times through.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, some of these performances, when you're a lead performance, it's like, can you carry this movie? Do you elevate the movie that you're in because you are the center of it? And this is a great case in Zoe Deutch's favor because Buffalo succeeds so much because she's so good in it.
I agree.
Do you have Frances McDormand's Nomadland performance in your top 5? Because I don't.
Is it blasphemous to say, Zach?
I don't know if film Twitter will be mad at us for this one, but
have her. Nah, I'm looking at my list. I have her at, and that's not bad. I have her at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have her number 7. I was gonna say it's at number 7. Is it gonna be higher for other people from the list that I have over here? Sure. I would argue for these other ones any day of the week. I think it's not a bad performance, and I have no problem with her winning the award for it either.
Same.
But the things that I'm rooting for Nomadland the most is probably directing. It's because of the way that they're able to, that Chloe is able to intertwine having an actress and then having non-actors who, were the people from the book coming in to play those roles.
It's a very naturalistic feeling movie.
Easily. So, again, not bad. But yeah, I have it at number 7. What do you have it at?
I got it like maybe like 10, 11. There's just some actresses who I really liked a lot this year, and it's not necessarily to fault Frances McDormand, who is excellent as she always is.
That year for 3 Billboards, I thought she killed it. I cannot think of anybody else
that year.
Just not this year.
I just think that this is what is great about this performance is how little is going on in it. And
is that a bad thing though?
It's not a bad thing, but it's just maybe not something that draws me to this one opposed to the other ones. I think she's pretty much doing everything she needs to in this movie. I just don't know if I think that this is the role that I would necessarily think is like a top 10 performance role, if that makes sense. The Oscars will prove me wrong, I guess, or whatever, but I want to spotlight some other performers.
That's just it. I think a lot of people here is like number 7, how dare it not be in the top 3. No, I would argue for my other top 6, as I think you would for, I'm curious what yours is, because you have like you have a whole 10.
I got a few in here that I'm interested to hear your opinion about.
It wasn't a bad year.
Viola Davis, another person that is probably going to get nominated for an Oscar, but neither of us have her in our top 5. And I think this is a little bit because there's a little bit of category fraud going on here.
Let's talk about it.
Because Viola is like very much the supporting performance in this movie. So much of the movie happens without her character even present, which is weird for a movie called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom when she's playing Ma Rainey. But the way that her character kind of just enters and exits and changes the dynamic is such a classic supporting role that it feels weird to have her here among the lead actors. I also think that this is like a solid but not amazing Viola Davis performance. There are a lot of amazing Viola Davis performances out there. I always point to Doubt as like one of the greatest screen performances of all time. But like this is like just a solid turn from her. Also, the fact that she's not actually singing these songs, I think it ultimately is another thing that it's just she's less involved in this movie than some others.
Now, I think I like her role a lot more than you do, but I agree with you. It's not in her own, like in her own repertoire though. It's not the best.
Yeah.
That said though, I agree 100% with the category thing because going into this movie, I was like, nah, she's the lead. And what are they talking about, Chadwick? No, Chadwick was very much the lead, and surprisingly, I felt like she was more the supporting.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting turn of events. I do have her in my top 5 if it was supporting, because I believe not only the way that the character is written, the amount of screen time that she has, but like I just feel like she hits all those points better if that's the category you put it in. But again, we have this discussion for about 3 more other roles that we were bringing up in this podcast. But
part of being the lead actor or actress is carrying the movie, and I don't really think she carries this movie. There's another performance that carries this movie, and we will talk about that later.
Begins and ends it.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll see.
Nicole Beharie. I have her outside of my top 10. I think it's a great performance. I really liked Miss Juneteenth, but I think this is a little bit in like the Frances McDormand category. If they like, it's so naturalistic, and she's playing things. She's underplaying things in a way that works so perfectly for the character that maybe makes her stand out a little bit less than some other performances that I have here. I like the performance a lot, but it's not one of the 10 that has really stuck with me.
I'd be surprised if she gets a nomination. I know she was able to sweep up the one for the Gothams. I know you guys felt this way about another movie for Sylvie's Love. I would have thrown Tessa Thompson in there because I thought she also did a great job in the role that she was in there. So between Nicole Beharie and Tessa Thompson, 2 performances that came out of the same year at Sundance, I feel like they've been garnering more of the indie awards without really getting any recognition from anything that's bigger, I guess. But I still think that they were solid performances, even though they're not in my personal top 10, though.
Yeah. All right, so I can start with my 10 if you want me to go through it that way.
Okay. Go for it.
Yeah, so I got Debbie Honeywood from Sorry We Missed You. Another one of these very naturalistic performances, except that, like, because I think she's maybe less of a professional actor than the others, there's something even less performance-y about it. There's something that almost feels like documentary about it.
Okay.
The way that she gets overwhelmed and cries in these moments is so unactorly. I don't feel like I've quite seen a on-screen cry like those, and it just hit me right in my gut. So I really loved her performance in that movie. I've got her in my top 10. I know she's one that you liked a lot as well.
Mm-hmm. That's all I said.
Are we keeping her in then?
Well, I felt like we were only breaking the top 5, though. That's why.
That's the thing. We only got to bring the top 5. Do you want to? Do you think she should be a top 5? Is what I'm asking. We can keep her around.
Yeah,
we'll keep her around.
Let's do. Yeah.
I got Zendaya for Malcolm and Marie, a movie that we have yet to talk about on the Intercut podcast.
You know, I heard people arguing for her. I'm a big fan. No.
Really, you didn't like her performance?
Whoa. Yeah, I guess you're right. And it's not that I didn't like her performance. It's just that, and I felt the exact same thing also with John David Washington, is that there is a point where it's like they're hitting it, they're doing what they need to do, and then they enter a part of the script that I feel they just, not that they couldn't handle it, but I was sitting there thinking about the writing of what they were saying as opposed to the performance. That.
I can see what you're saying, and I think I fall on the side that it's more of a fault with the writing. Okay. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily like an amazing performance, but it's a really captivating one. I think she's just a very interesting screen presence, and I was excited to see this side of her.
I like the characters a lot. If there's one thing I've been finding with the Malcolm and Marie thing, is just using it as a verb, pulling a Malcolm, pulling a Marie. So I will give them that. I think the characters are going to stay with me for a lot longer than I think her performance in particular.
Great. So we are eliminating Zendaya.
Sorry.
Yeri Han from Minari.
Yeah. I don't think it'll break it for me.
I kind of wish it would, but
I wish it would, and I just got off of seeing it again, and I do think she does a great job in the role. But I would argue more for the grandmother's character than I would for her. And I know not everyone would agree. And again, I feel bad because I feel like it's taking away from the subtlety of her performance, which is the biggest strength.
It's a smaller performance.
It is. And it is also a matter of, like, I just have more people I would put ahead. But it's not a bad performance. I feel weird saying, again, that's why I wanted to start off by saying, like, yo, this is a really good year. There are a lot of great performances, but there are just better performances, in my opinion, from my list. Why? Do you have her breaking the top 5?
I kind of want her to. I have her, unfortunately, I have her at like number 6, number 7, kind of floating between there.
Okay.
So I'm okay with eliminating her, unfortunately.
I will say this. I wouldn't mind her getting a nomination over Carey Mulligan. You know?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it either because I think it's a really interesting, subtle performance. I think it's very lived in, like a lot of Minari. So I don't know. I think it's the kind of acting that I enjoy seeing rewarded. Although Mulligan's got the splashier performance,
and that's why I'm still surprised. As fans of Promising Young Woman, I am surprised that Carey Mulligan has made it all the way to like the Best Actress talks, because as great as I thought she was, I did not think she was going to be competing with a lot of the other names, like you said, and performances that usually are the ones that get awarded or get nominated for the Oscars. But
so let's talk about it. Let's talk about Carey Mulligan, because I've got her also floating at 6 and 7 with Yeri Han.
Yeah, I have her in the lower of the 10. I'm not saying she'd be 11, but honestly, like I said, I would have put Sarah Bolger ahead. I have Frances McDormand ahead. I have a lot of the other ones that we're going to be mentioning. Bro, I'd put Driveways ahead, to be honest with you. So
I have Driveways in supporting, but
okay, all right. I'd still put it ahead. and here's the thing. Again, I like the movie. I like the movie a lot, but I like the journey, I guess, more than I do the performance. It's not a bad performance, and I don't want to blame it on genre, because I don't want to be the person who's always saying we should be awarding more genre films. I'm just surprised that I think it's the subject matter that has hit more with people, whereas I think there's a lot of others genre. To be honest with you, there is some other genre films. Swallow, which we have mentioned. We're going to get to another one that's more of a psychological one that tends to not get it because it's not a drama, yet this one that's a revenge thriller.
Part of what makes Carey Mulligan's performance so interesting is that, or part of what makes her character so interesting in Promising Young Woman is that it's a character about repression, a character who has repressed a lot of her feelings and thoughts and hopes even.
Yeah.
And it results in Mulligan giving a performance that puts a lot of it underneath the surface, which I think
not a
really
bad
works. I think she's excellent in the movie. I think it's just ultimately not asking as much of her as some of the other performances that I have ahead of hers.
Yeah, none of these that we're mentioning are bad. We're just playing a game of which is better, I guess, than the other ones. And I'm just surprised that just the way that the Oscars plays genres, I guess. But I am not the Oscars, and even in my own list, I have her barely cracking the top 10. Interestingly enough.
I skipped over Vanessa Kirby in Pieces of a Woman because I feel like you got her in your top 5.
Bro, I almost forgot. I don't have her in my top 5.
Okay.
But I do have her above Mulligan, for sure. I really like what they do in that movie in having it be, the focus is on this character who loses their child. But the entire movie is really her relationship with her mother. And it's how she's dealing with the loss of her kid by the mom trying to make sure that her own kid is living up to a lot of the trauma that she went through herself when she had her. And I really like the visual motifs that they have in the movie. And they kind of act as like markers for how the character progresses. And I mean, it's in the title. Picks up these pieces of herself in order to become a whole again. I really, really, really like the performance. I really like the way that it's written, and especially because it's based off of the journals that the writer had, being a partner of the director as well. So there's a lot of intimacy that comes into the movie. And I think one of the most surprising parts, in particular, is the fact that Vanessa Kirby has never gone through labor. Vanessa Kirby doesn't even have any children. She acted her ass off in the film. Yeah, honestly, I may have 8 above the line, to be honest with you. Now, I have her right under Sarah Bolger. I think I have her right under. I'm not disrespecting. Please watch A Good Woman is Hard to Find. But yeah, that would be in my top 10.
Yeah, she's in my top 10 as well. It's a really excellent performance. just the amount that she's able to make you sympathize and feel for her is really, really remarkable in that movie. And I think that movie is so focused on her in a way that really elicits so much emotion. So it's a great performance, even though it's outside of my top 5 personally. So of the ones that I got in my top 5, I think there's 2 in here that you are not going to have in yours for sure. One is Julia Garner's in The Assistant, which of the like subtle performances that we've been talking about is my favorite. I think she does so much with her body language in that movie to communicate things. There's, a scene in the elevator with Patrick Wilson where nobody mentions that it's supposed to be Patrick Wilson, but it's supposed to be Patrick Wilson, and that just because of how she positions herself and how she becomes awkward and the way that she's able to communicate all of that in what is otherwise like a pretty much silent moment. She's really doing something special in The Assistant. I really like this performance. I'm willing to drop it if you really don't think that if it could compete for our collective top 5, though.
I think that's the best part of the movie. Hands down. Is the subtlety that she brings to it. Without her, without everything she brings to it, it would have dragged out the day and all the stuff that she goes through. But the way that she reacts to the emails when she finally goes in for that one sequence where she has to have the discussion, even when she's having the talks with her family on the phone, I would have put it in my top 5.
That's fine.
But that would be one where I'd be okay with her getting nominated. I've loved seeing her just kill it with the Emmys. I think that this is I can't wait to see what other performances she does, because I do think that she's going to be coming in and getting a lot of nominations very soon with the performances that she has. But I do think this was the strongest part of the movie, but not in my top 5.
All right. I got Kristen Milotti for Palm Springs. I think she is giving such a dynamic performance in this movie, is able to take you through all these different emotions in a realistic way and balance the tonal shifts of the movie. It's a movie where it's kind of built around Andy Samberg, but it feels like it's missing something whenever she's not on screen. And I just think it's one of the best comedic performances that I've seen in a couple of years. It's not going to get nominated for any awards.
I was just about to say, I love her, but I could see that. Again, another one that when it comes to genres, that even if it would have been eligible, I mean, it is eligible. It's just never going to be considered because it's a comedy. There's only like one out of all of the stuff that's nominated. We have one actress who comes from a comedy, right? And even that, I feel, is because of the subject matter that it's covering. But we'll get to that in the supporting. Yeah, sorry. Not entering the top 5, Zach.
All right. So I got Aubrey Plaza in my top 5 from Black Mirror. It's a performance where she's asked to do so many things. It's a performance where you watch her character evolve over time. You can feel things shifting around her through her performance. She's able to do so much to manipulate the energy of that movie and do things that I've never seen her do before. As somebody who's even a big fan of Aubrey Plaza's, I was blown away by her in this movie. I think it's a great performance. She's for sure in my top 5.
I agree.
Okay. Easy enough. Sydney Flanagan from Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
Yes, sir.
She perfectly embodies this role in a way that makes the movie almost feel like a documentary. She can communicate so much without saying anything. We've mentioned it all the time, but the Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always scene is just some of the most pitch perfect dramatic acting that exists.
Unbelievable.
And yeah, I mean, I think you can hold up that one scene against just about any other performance from this year, and it totally contends. Even though this is ostensibly, I think, her debut, I think this is easily in my top 5.
100%.
All right. My number 1, I don't know if this is in your top 5, but my number 1 is the girl Carrie Coon for The Nest. Now, I know that everybody's just about done talking about The Nest for whatever reason, that it didn't hit, that people didn't love it. But Carrie Coon is giving you so
Top
much in this
3
movie.
performances. All right. You just
so
mentioned
good.
Black Bear, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, and Carrie Coon. Those are my top 3 performances.
We should host a podcast together.
Without a damn doubt. When we were saying, oh, who are people going to be mad about? I'm sure the Yeri fans, they're going to be like, well, you guys just don't understand the subtlety in her performance. Never, Rarely. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, why not Frances McDormand? Never, Rarely. Once again. Aubrey Plaza.
Viola Davis is acting her ass off.
Well, I do have Viola Davis, just in a different category. But when we were looking at those, and I went, nah, the top that I have over here, I would gladly contest against some of these other ones. These other actresses, I'm sure people, you only get mad whenever it's not their pick, but I can defend my pick for damn sure. Great performances over there. The 3 you just mentioned are easily, without a doubt. I don't know who I have on top, though. Between Carrie Coon, between Aubrey Plaza, and Sydney Flanagan, I'm okay with either of them winning. I just wish all 3 would get nominated. I feel one of them, Aubrey, she's not even in the running, it seems, for a lot of people over here. But those 3, with also Jessie Buckley, with also Shirley, I would also add her in there as well. And then Haley Bennett. I know that's more of a personal pick, but those are my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 easily. I broke my 5. 6 easily. But the top 3 without a doubt are Carrie Coon, Aubrey Plaza, and Sydney Flanagan for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. These are impeccable freaking performances.
Absolutely.
Talk about Carrie Coon, man. I agree with you. I finally caught the movie, and by that point, people were like, eh. No, what I saw on screen is, eh? I don't know what to say, man.
Just the way that it's like a marriage being tortured, and you feel the anguish of having to have their lives uprooted through her discomfort, how she has to contend with her children being upset, with all her troubles with the horse, the poor horse.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating performance. It's just so magnetic. I could not look away from her. I just want like a loop 10-hour, one of those YouTube 10-hour loop videos of her dancing in that one scene.
I want a montage of all of the times what's his name thinks he's going to get a one-up on her, Jude Law, and she just smacks him down, especially when they're ordering food at the restaurant.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I replayed immediately. Yeah, beautifully written movie, and I think Carrie Coon is one of the best we have working. Like, it's not even a surprise. Like, I hate the fact that we have to, like, defend Carrie Coon as best performance. Right. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then it just reminds me of, like, oh, all right, we're not putting the respect on Carrie Coon's name. I guess she needs to be in an episode of WandaVision or something, because I don't know what's going on here. I thought she was already a household name through The Leftovers, through Gone Girl. I thought she did a great job as a supporting performance. But I know she's done a lot of theater. And I was really hoping The Nest would have hit more, but I guess the subject matter a lot of people didn't like because they were rich. But I know we've talked about how it is based off the director's own upbringing, and again, the differences of these are characters who are in America and have to make this shift over to the UK. And that's a whole other part that she really brings into it beautifully. And there's just a lot of subtleties in that movie. Like, if you rewatch it, just realizing all the baggage that they've been holding, it makes all the scenes earlier on have a completely different twist to it. And that's all thanks to the performances of both of them. Yeah. What's his name did a good job as well.
We will bring up Jude Law later in this video for sure. But Carrie Coon is so much the center of this movie and does so much with it. Yeah, it's been my favorite performance of the year since we saw it, or I saw it at least. I think you saw it too back at Sundance.
I did not see it at Sundance. Okay. I got the link later on.
Yeah. All right, so we got Carrie Coon, Sydney Flanagan, and Aubrey Plaza for sure in the top 3.
Those
the
so good. It was
Never
so
Really,
good.
Sometimes,
we don't even
Always.
Need two more.
Black Bear. What else are we putting in our top 5? We got Julia Garner from The Assistant.
Okay.
We got Debbie Honeywood from Sorry We Missed You. Got Jessie Buckley from I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And got Elizabeth Moss from Shirley. Are you ready to eliminate any of those 4?
I know you didn't say swallow Haley Bennett. I just want to say her name one last time. I really think it's Jessie Buckley for sure. No?
It is. It is an incredible performance. I think.
Really? Okay.
No. I don't. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think actually you're right that it should be in the top 5. I think because the movie is such a mystifying mix of
too much
elements,
sometimes, yeah,
that it almost feels like her performance is inconsistent, but it's as inconsistent as the movie is. If you would, I'm not trying to say that as a diss.
Exactly.
It's schizophrenic intentionally, and that's credit to her that she's able to slip in and out of all these scenes. I think that's why she doesn't come to the top of my mind. But you're forcing me to think about this, and yeah, I do think you're right.
Plus, her repertoire is fantastic. If you haven't seen Beast, go check out Beast. What was the one from last year that she should have? Dude, she should have been nominated for song. Talk about one where she's not just killing the performance, but she's also singing and a part of the soundtrack and really just bringing in all this talent. Yeah, 100% she should be nominated. She should be credited for this movie. And for the 5th role, I personally really like Shirley.
I'm happy to give it to Elizabeth Moss. I mean,
well, who else would you have? Because I love Sorry We Missed You, but I still wouldn't even have that come in. I think
I had Julia Garner on mine. I'm also willing to argue for Yeri Han, even though we already omitted her.
I think Shirley's the best one.
Yeah,
I think Elizabeth Moss.
It is an incredible Elizabeth Moss performance in which is something that weirdly is just becoming like a typical thing, like Elizabeth Moss is giving a 10 out of 10 in a movie that people are overlooking.
Oh, we got another Spielberg movie, and I guess it was just good, but it didn't change the landscape of stuff. It's like, yeah, every time she comes in, she is giving it her all.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that we credit her enough with what she does.
All right, so I'm happy to give it to Elizabeth Moss. Sorry to Debbie Honeywood and to Julia Garner. You almost got it. We do love you, and Julia is going to get on this list sometime in the future for sure. She's got a long time ahead of her. Gold Derby assembles their predictions for what they assume will get nominated for the Oscars, and on their list they have in the Best Actress category Carey Mulligan, Viola Davis, Frances McDormand, Vanessa Kirby, and Andra Day in their top 5. We have no overlap in our Best Actress choices with theirs right now.
Bro, they have Carey Mulligan at the top? Interesting. Yeah, Viola Davis, I still feel she should have been in the other category. Frances McDormand, I felt like she was always going to be the one who was going to win. Like she was just going to follow it up again because, as we know, she wasn't taking a role since her win the previous time until this one. I like seeing Vanessa Kirby there. Andra Day, if you say...
It's a great performance.
Hey, they like Zendaya more than I thought people were
they
giving
got
her credit
Zendaya,
for.
Amy Adams, Yeri Han, and Sophia Loren as potentially upsets there. I personally feel like that 5 that I mentioned, though, looks like it could be the 5 for the Oscars. Maybe Zendaya gets in there instead of Andra because Zendaya is such a big celebrity at this point.
So we gave our top 5 out of what Gold Derby has predicted. What do you think? Who do you think will take the Oscar?
For our top 5 or for what if Gold Derby predicted?
For the Oscar.
It kind of seems like there's a lot of momentum building around Carey Mulligan, and I think one of the things, the 3 frontrunners definitely feel like Carey, Viola, and Frances at this point. Vanessa and Andra, I think, are happy to just be there.
I think it's Frances.
And of those 3 frontrunners, Carey's the only one who hasn't won yet. So there might be a little bit of like, well, she's due. We like her.
That'd be insane.
Viola and Frances already won. So...
But then there's that whole split in the way that they do the votes to begin with. But
yeah,
I'm sticking with Frances right now.
You think
for
it's
my
going to be
prediction.
Frances?
I feel so. I do. I really do. All
right, cool. So why don't we move on to the Best Supporting Actress category? From the Best Supporting Actress category, some of the honorable mentions that I wanted to throw in here. I got Adele Haenel from Deerskin. It's kind of a small performance, but a funny one.
Okay.
I wanted to throw a shout out to. We mentioned Nicole Bahari from Miss Juneteenth. I also wanted to shout out Alexis Chikese from Miss Juneteenth. I thought she also gave a really good performance as the daughter in that movie. You wanted to shout out Mercedes Hernandez from Identifying Features.
Yeah, I thought she gave a very powerful performance, a very subtle performance of a mother who is willing to do anything to go find her son. It was a beautifully written script. Very slowly paced, but I thought that, through all of the intensity that they put her through in that film, I thought she carried it very well. I'm still hoping that it's actually not even, it's not eligible at all for the Oscars at all. But that's why I wanted to give her a shout out.
I got Marsha Stephanie Blake from I'm Your Woman. I think I'm Your Woman is a really interesting movie, and there's some solid performances in that one, but she stood out to me as sort of a late entry into the movie who changes the dynamic a bit. We got 2 performances from Kajillionaire here in Deborah Winger and Gina Rodriguez. I like them both a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if either are really contenders for my top 5. Did you have a favorite from the 2 of them?
They're so different because they're both playing completely different women for the main character. One who is there to support, the other one who is there to support. So
Deborah's playing such a character, and Gina is just this radiant light of optimism and energy.
I don't really have.
They're both great.
They're both great.
One in a specific way too.
Elizabeth Debicki in Tenet.
She's best tall actress
easily. Best mother in film.
Do you have Ellen Burstyn in your top 5? Because I don't. Even though I liked her performance in Pieces of a Woman, I actually don't love this performance. I think as some other people do.
I feel you. No, because I just remembered Dominique Fishback. So no, she is not in there. Now I know that Viola Davis doesn't count. We were just finishing talking about that. How we consider her a supporting one. Just mentioning it there. But no, I do think that she does give a good performance in the film, again, because she is literally the supporting, almost antagonist to, what's her name in Pieces of a Woman?
Vanessa Kirby.
And she plays an integral part into it. She obviously has that really big moment that would be playing as the Oscar clip speech that they give her. As much as I like it, no, it would not break my top 5.
Yeah. Do you have Hong Chow from Driveways in your top 5?
Okay, I don't know. I thought we were considering her as lead, I guess. But no, not in my top 5. But I'm glad that we're giving her a mention because I really love the subtlety in her performance, and especially the kid as well. The way that it's just a lived in already. You know that they've had this relationship going for a while. Just the way that she smokes a cigarette, puts it out. He didn't even got to look at it. He knows exactly what he needs to do for his mom. I think it's a very beautiful performance that hopefully gets more indie buzz as those nominations come out as well.
Yeah, we love Hong Chow on the Intercut podcast, and we're always going to use a chance to talk about her, but it's a small performance, but one that we liked a lot. Allison Janney from Bad Education. I know that we're going to talk more about Bad Education later.
We know it's the one that doesn't qualify, but we want it to.
Right. We if in our world, it would be eligible for the Oscars. I think we could give her a shout out at least here because she is so great. That Long Island accent is so awesome. But yeah, I don't know if it's ultimately going to make our top 5.
I would have made my top 10 if it was eligible for sure. Yeah. Maybe even higher. It might. I didn't even consider it, but it might have broken my top 5 because you know that's one of my top 5 favorite movies of last year, and the performances killed it.
All right, so I've got 6 performances here for 5 Best Supporting Actress slots, and I'm gonna run through them. You can tell me maybe what you think are the best ones, at least.
Okay.
We got Amanda Seyfried from Mank, Olivia Cooke from Sound of Metal, Dominique Fishback from Judas and the Black Messiah, Talia Ryder from Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, Yuh-Jung from Minari, and Maria Bakalova from Borat's subsequent movie film.
Okay. All right.
So I think we both have Yuh-Jung for sure.
You know.
You're going to pull a 180 on me at this moment and suddenly back down on the grandma from Minari?
Here's my thing. It's between her and Talia from Never Rarely.
Really?
For that spot. So
I'm surprised that you don't have her. I have her at number 1 right now, I think.
Who?
Yuh-Jung?
Oh, no. I meant not in the ranking. I don't actually have her number 1 either. I do have a number 1, but I'm talking about it's to fill in that 5th spot. It's going to have to be between her. Talia's out.
Really?
That's what I'm saying.
Because for me, I got Olivia Cooke or Amanda Seyfried sort of on my fence.
Oh, you're going to do Amanda like that, aren't you? Ooh,
yeah.
Okay. No, here's the thing. I don't even have Cook in my top 5. I'm going to give you my top 5 right here. For me, it goes as follows. Again, the Yuh-Jung would be tied for that 5th spot with Talia from Never Rarely, but then I would have at number 4, Borat 2. Then at number 3, I have Amanda Seyfried for Mank. At number 2, I have Dominique Fishback for Judas and the Black Messiah. And at number 1, and she needs to win it, is Olivia Colman for the It's not even.
I forgot to put Olivia on here because I still haven't seen The Father.
It's not even close. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Really?
It's not even close what she does in that movie, man. And I'm still mad you missed it. Olivia Colman, it's hers to lose. I've been rooting for her, and I've even been rooting for, just spoil it, the other gentleman who's in the movie as well. Mm-hmm. The best performances of the year, hands down.
All right. I mean, okay.
You ever want to give an ensemble
they won't let me
award
see The
to
Father,
something that's like just 2 people? It's crazy. Yes, Olivia Colman easily number 1. I want to see Dominique Fishback get a nomination. I would love to see Amanda Seyfried get a nomination. Same thing for Maria Bakalova for Borat. But look, personally, I like Talia Never Rarely. I would put Yuh-Jung ahead. I would love to see her get the nomination.
All right, so since you got Olivia at your number 1, I'm willing to put her in our top 5, even though I haven't seen it.
Oh, it has to be, bro. It has to be.
Yeah. I got Maria at my number 2, and I got Yuh-Jung at my number 1. So I think we can put both of them in as well.
For sure.
Now, I think we both have Dominique in our top 5, so I think we can solidify her.
So now we're fighting for Amanda, Talia,
Olivia, and Talia. Yeah.
I offer Amanda did a fantastic job in the movie, and I think she was able to carry a lot in a performance where she's also playing another actress and is able to bring in a lot of the nuances of what was going on during that period in time. I'm surprised that she got shut out of the Globes, I think, right? Mm-hmm. I personally think she gave a better performance than Gary Oldman in the movie, and I feel that more people are pushing Gary Oldman.
She is excellent in the movie. I am willing to go with you there because, I don't really have an argument against her other than I maybe liked a couple of performances more.
Talia is the actual best supporting, though.
Yeah, literally. Here's my question for you, though, if we're choosing between Talia and Olivia. Is Olivia in Sound of Metal enough?
Yeah. Cook? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't have her as my top, I guess. I guess because the supporting performance under that really stood out, besides gender, would have been Racy's character. So that was just me in particular. But I don't think she did a bad job in the movie. I just think the 2 standout performances in there would have been obviously the lead and Paul's character.
Yeah. So do you want to go with Talia here maybe then?
I'm cool with... Man, we doing Amanda like that again, man? Oh.
No. We were putting Amanda... wait, what did we... Oh, no. You're right. We could only do one, and I guess it can be Amanda if we only got to pick one.
I'm willing to take out Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Well, I don't have Gary Oldman in my top 5.
Exactly. He's not even getting in. So because we already honored Sydney,
I
feel like giving it to Amanda, just personally, yeah.
All right. That's fair. So we got Olivia Colman from The Father, Yuh-Jung from Minari, Maria Bakalova from Borat's subsequent movie film, Dominique Fishback from Judas and the Black Messiah, and Amanda Seyfried from Mank as our top 5 supporting actresses of 2020.
And you want Yuh-Jung to win?
From that crop, I do. I would be super happy about that.
That'd be incredible. It's Olivia's to lose. It is Olivia's to lose.
Her part's big enough. That's the one thing that I've heard is that she doesn't have like a huge part in the movie.
Well, they lied to you.
All right. So the Gold Derby list for supporting actress has Olivia Colman as the lead, as the favorite to win it, followed by Amanda Seyfried, Yuh-Jung, Glenn Close from Hillbilly Elegy, and then Maria Bakalova from Borat's subsequent movie film. They also have Ellen Burstyn and Helena Zengel, who we haven't mentioned from News of the World.
I haven't seen News of the World, but I'm a huge Helena fan. System Crasher is a role that she should have been nominated for, and they just didn't do anything there.
Could you imagine that Glenn Close loses another Oscar to Olivia Colman?
Yeah, it's called the nominations for this year. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It sucks. I don't like putting it that way. But yeah, I'm looking at it, Zach.
She's the favorite. Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping Glenn
She
Close
is the
doesn't even get
favorite.
nominated for that performance, to be honest, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Can you imagine the way that it works out? Glenn Close ends up winning. Oh, what a travesty.
Yeah. I would be much happier with Hillbilly Elegy getting no nominations.
Exactly. It's terrible when someone winning an award, but what they win the award for and that having to follow them for the rest of their life is more of like a damn it than anything else.
Right. Like, that's the thing, is you don't want an actress like Glenn Close, who has been such a legendary figure, to ultimately win for a movie as bad as Hillbilly Elegy. You know, and we were talking about great performances in bad movies earlier in this video. Mm-hmm. I don't think Hillbilly Elegy meets that qualification.
Again, I said even both of their I mean, she plays the grandma well, and I don't see Amy. I didn't understand the Amy hype for that at all. I did argue for the supporting in terms of Haley Bennett. I think she did the best job in that movie. But yeah, I don't want any of them to win in this. I think that would be terrible for them. But did you see her interview with Pete Davidson? She had a one-on-one with Pete Davidson, which is
I saw that it existed, but I didn't watch
Thank you.
it.
Just the fact that that's out there. Look, jokes aside, which it is kind of funny. It was actually a really great talk that they both had.
I'm sure. I kind of feel like those talks are the most interesting when they get wacko pairs together.
Yeah, you feel like
the
it's so
variety
mismatched,
actors on
yeah.
actors. Yeah.
I thought they got into a nice little pocket and talking about addiction, but even more than that, they talked about the idea of not getting any nominations, any wins and stuff like that. And she was like, you know what? Maybe I'll never win one, but the legacy one's still one, isn't it? They could roll me out there in a wheelchair when I'm 80-something years old, and I'll accept that one. That'll be the Oscar. But yeah, that's a lot of noms.
People in NBA circles, I don't know why I'm bringing up basketball right now, but people in NBA circles are talking about Mike Conley, and he's potentially a replacement for the All-Star game. But if he doesn't get it, he'll be known as maybe the best player of all time to never make an All-Star game. And that's a much better title than like some dude who made one All-Star game. Sometimes it's better to not win the prize, right?
Yeah.
Like, if that's your legacy, then that's a legacy too.
Yeah. You know, everyone likes bringing up Shawshank, not winning anything. I see it.